If your door won't close on your Ford Fiesta like mine's, I'm about to show you how you could fix it for under $3 in just a few minutes of your time. First thing I'm going to do right now is just show you a few points of where the bolts are located so you know exactly where we're going to start to take the few bolts off to get this job started. So the first tool we're going to use is a regular screwdriver. Phillips screwdriver, just go ahead and grab that, start taking out the screw that's in the door handle. Once you get that off, we can go ahead and move to the 3 screws that's holding in the actual door lock itself. We're going to use a T30. Yes, you're going to need a T30. You can use a socket and ratchet, or you could use a power tool like I'm using here. I'm going to show you the actual size it is right now. It's a T30. Once we get that done, we can go ahead and move on to a T25. So you're going to have to get some different tools for this job here, but we're going to need a T25 now to take off 2 bolts underneath the door handle. Once you get those out, it's pretty simple, so we can move on to the next step, was actually taking the door panel off. But just go ahead and take those 2 screws out for now. Once we get those 2 screws out, we got to pop this little piece off in the corner on top of the door panel right there. Pop that out so we can reach around the door and lift up the panel itself. There's 2 connections in place right here that's holding on to the door, so you need to take those apart in order for the door panel itself to kind of move out of the way so you could take it off completely. Once you get that thing off, well, it's a total of 8 screws holding on another panel that's actually connected to the actual door handle itself, with the door lock itself. So you need to go ahead and take all 8 of those screws off. Make sure when you do take them off, you keep them together and put them somewhere safe with all the other screws and all the other bolts so you don't lose them, because these are very important. So these little cover-ups are right here on this hole. See, it's 2 of them, so you got to just pull it off and set it to the side, and once you get in, you will see 2 bolts right here, both still 10mm, but you got to let the window down just a little bit so the bolts can expose themselves. Once they do, go ahead and loosen them up. Don't have to take them out, just loosen them up. The window will be loose, that way you can lift the window up and then tape it up so it doesn't fall. But anyways, once you get those things done, it's going to be 2 more connections, and it's a long wire running across the door that you need to disconnect. Simply grab your flathead screwdriver and pry it up out of place, run it along the door. Once you get that done, just disconnect it from the white motor, which is the window motor right there, and from the door speaker. Once you get it off, the black panel and the door latch is actually together, so it's a screw here at the very bottom, a medium long screw, and one at the top right there, also a medium long screw. You need to take those off to disconnect the latch from this black panel. Once we get that off, we need a 10mm, that's a T10, and we can start taking these small screws out of the actual door latch itself. So we're going to take this whole door latch apart and repair it. So it's maybe like 6 screws there. After that, we're going to need to sand down this middle part here right below my finger. Need to sand that down with a grinder. Once you get that done, there's 1 more screw on the back that we have to take out as well. Then we can actually start to pry this thing open. It's a small little tab right here that we have to pry open just so we can get this thing open. So pry it open, use a flathead screwdriver or whatever. Also, keep prying until it gets open. Once you feel it open, and tip it over so you don't drop anything out of it. Once we got it open, let's check it out and see what's in the inside. So once we get inside our actual door lock, this is what it looks like. This piece right here that I'm rotating, well, this is responsible for keeping the door locked when it's closed. So if you could look a little bit closer, down below where I'm putting my finger is, it's supposed to be a spring right there in that little hole right there. So I'm gonna zoom in so you can see it right behind there. It's supposed to be a spring. So that's what we need to put our spring at. So the spring is only $1. You can get it at any local hardware store. So what I did was use one of the long screws that we took out and set the spring on top of it so I can use it to guide the spring in place, because it's a pretty tight area to get it into with your bare hands. Then I just followed up with the flathead screwdriver to push it down in place. It takes a little bit of time, but you can do it. This is what it looks like once you get the job done. As you can see behind my finger right there, you can see the spring. Like I said before, it might take a little time. It took me a little while, but you can still do it just using a flathead or some needle nose pliers, whatever you can. But that's how I got it in there from the side angle right there. Just guide it right through. You're going to have to use your other tools to sit it into place. But nonetheless, you can get it done for sure. Once you get it done, don't forget, now we got to put it together, back together. So just go ahead and put it back together the same way you took it apart. Make sure it's upside down once you get it together. Then just start to squeeze it together. If for some reason it's not clamping together, you might need to check out that little pin that we had to bend out of place again. That was the same thing that was giving me problems. Remember, I think it's like 6 screws or so. You go ahead, put them back into place. Don't forget the last one on the back side of it, and make sure you screw them all down. Once it's put back together, now it's time to reattach it to the black panel. So we got to go ahead, just sit it up on the side so that way it'll line up with the 2 holes that the 2 long to medium sized screws go into. So we want to go ahead and just take those screws, make sure we put them into place, make sure we hand tighten them first, and then tighten them all the way down with the torque gun or with the socket and ratchet that we have. So after all that hard work, well, we actually fixed the door latch itself, but now we got to take this whole assembly and put it back into the car door. So once we get it into the car door, we're just going to do the reverse steps of what we did earlier to make sure we secure it with all the bolts and screws that we had took out to get this thing to come out of the door. Hopefully this video helps you guys. Always leave a comment and a like if you have any questions, and I'm going to see you in the next video.
I'm happy with that. And as you can see, we fixed the door. It works now.
24 hours in a day, what the fuck you gonna say? Pick a lane, man, you gotta choose one. It's what they used to tell me every day.